let's talk about episode 2 of Game of Wool. Hello everyone, Rochelle here, and I'm back to share some yarn goodness with y'all today. Okay, so this competition features 10 contestants that are all competing to be crowned Britain's best knitter. Now, in my episode 1 review, I went over the judges, the contestants, and the show rules. So for this episode, we're going to jump right into the individual competition. Okay, so for the challenge, the contestants had to make a 2-piece dog outfit, and it had to be based off of something iconic to them. They had 12 hours. That was it. They had 12 hours for this challenge, and they had to incorporate knit and crochet. So each piece had to feature a body design as well as a headgear piece. And the designs were featured on 2 beautiful Italian greyhounds, and their names were Dana and Dobie. So cute. I love dogs, so I was really into this challenge. So we'll go ahead and go through each of the contestants, talk about what they made and what I liked about it. So up first we had Meadow. So Meadow's inspiration was Freddie Mercury. In particular, his yellow jacket that he wore during the Akanda Magic Tour. Her piece featured buckles and fasteners underneath the belly of the jacket. So her headgear was a tiny bejeweled crown, and I just thought that was so great. So here's the thing about Meadow. She is primarily a crocheter, so she wasn't really into knitting. In fact, it wasn't until she actually signed up for the show that she learned how to make her first knitted garment. So, she's very new to this, but I thought she did a great job. Now, one thing that she did come up with, or that the judges found, is that she was twisting her stitches. She had been knitting that way all her life. So can you imagine knitting for all these years only to find out you've been twisting your stitches? Well, that's what happened to Meadow. And yeah, I just felt really bad for her because she thought she was doing it I don't want to say the correct way, because sometimes in projects you will twist your stitches on purpose, but she thought she was doing a regular stitch, but really she was twisting her stitches. So unfortunately that made the fabric on her coat kind of stretch a little bit. So that was Meadow. Okay, up next we had Dipta. So she was inspired by a unicorn. She spent some time in Las Vegas as a choir singer, and she was inspired by the Las Vegas lights, and so she decided to go with a unicorn. Now, she did admit that she prefers crochet over knitting. So that's very interesting. In a knitting competition, we have some contestants who are primarily crocheters and not as well versed into knitting. So that's very, very interesting. But her headpiece was a unicorn cone with an extravagant mane. It was so beautiful and colorful and bright. And her dog coat featured a mix of sparkly yarn and a rainbow. So it was so pretty. And when the dog came out, he just looked beautiful. So Dipta did a really, really good job on that. Next up, we have Lydia. So Lydia's piece was loosely inspired by the Notting Hill Carnival. And her headpiece featured a colorful array of knitted feathers, just to kind of mimic the outfits that are worn during the carnival. And she used a feather and fan stitch for her coat. So it came together really well. I love the bright colors and the sparkly, glittery yarn. And it looks so wonderful. And when the dog was trotting in, like the sparkles were just going, and it just looked so, so good. Okay, up next we have Isaac. All right, so his body piece was based on the mascot for the Philadelphia hockey team. So he knitted his dog coat inspired by an ice hockey rink, which is so neat. So when you look at the jacket, you can actually see like the circles of a hockey rink, and that is just so neat. And so also he embroidered the name of the dog on the back of the sweater. That was just so cool, and I just thought that was amazing. And the headgear to match the doggy outfit was inspired by Gritty, which is the mascot's helmet. It was inspired by the mascot helmet, and the mascot is Gritty. And so I thought that was really cool because I remember watching Abbott Elementary, and the teachers got so excited when Gritty the mascot came out. And so when he talked about Gritty on the Wool Show, I was like, oh, I got that reference. So let me know if you like watching Abbott Elementary. I'm currently catching up on episodes. Okay, so next we have Simon. So Simon's inspiration came from big Gothic buildings such as the Canterbury Cathedral. And so he used crochet moss stitch. And he did that to get a stonework texture to kind of mimic the texture of these old cathedral buildings. And he admitted that he was not a strong crocheter. Crocheting was just not his thing. So he was winging it. So I found that really interesting. And I can only imagine how he feels as a knitter to come on a knitting show and having to do all this crocheting. Like, I wonder if he expected that he was going to have to do so much crocheting. I'm really not sure. But his dog jacket featured a stained glass window. So I thought that was so cool. And the window was in the shape of a paw print. Oh, I love that. And also for his headpiece, he made a tiny little bell hat to go with it. So that was really nice. I forgot about Stephanie. Her doggy outfit was inspired by Chelsea pensioner, which are iconic British Army veterans. In her doggy jacket, she recreated the classic red and black uniform. And for the headpiece, she crocheted a black tricorn hat. Okay, next we have Tracy, and she was inspired by Ziggy Stardust, aka David Bowie. And her dog coat actually spelled out Bowie on the back. And then it had like this lightning bolt down at the bottom. And I just thought that was so cool. I really like that. And also her hat mimicked Ziggy's, or I keep wanting to say David Bowie, but Ziggy Stardust spiky hairstyle. That was her inspiration for the headgear. So I thought that was really cool. A nice nod to a wonderful musician. And so I thought that was really nice how she incorporated her icon into her inspiration. All right, next we have Holger. So his design was inspired by 18th century Italian theater performance, and it was based on the Italian Commedia dell'arte. So he made a pink and white striped coat with exaggerated balloon sleeves. Oh my gosh, when this dog came out, I instantly knew this look was my favorite look for the competition. I just thought it looked so regal and so pretty with the pink and the white and the big puffy sleeves. I loved it. And then for the headgear, he made a balaclava with holes for the ears, and I just thought that was really cool. And it had a miniature little crochet crown on it. I'm like, how do they come up with this stuff? Just how? Like, I think I'm a creative person, but my gosh, I don't know if I'm creative enough for this show. I feel like maybe if I had a time crunch of 12 hours, I would definitely come up with something. But let me know, do you think that you could have been a contestant on this show? Let me know your thoughts. I would love to know. Okay, so the last person that we had for the individual competition was Elsa. So her design was inspired by Glaswegian icons, since she is from Glasgow. And so the icon is the Duke of Wellington statue. And that statue is famous because it wears a traffic cone on its head. So she knit a gray jumper using intarsia to spell out the dog's name. And then she did this really cool technique where she brushed the lettering to give it kind of like a graffiti type of style to it. So that was really cool. And then for the hat, she crocheted a tiny little traffic cone. So cute. It really fit with her theme. And I just feel like all of the dog outfits were amazing. I would love to watch this episode again because the dogs were just so cute. Okay. Up next, we've got the team challenge. So we're in the second part of the episode. So let's talk about it. The contestants were split into 3 teams of 3. And they had to create an 80s jumper using mohair and intarsia. And this was a 10-hour challenge. So can you imagine having only 10 hours to create a sweater using mohair and intarsia? Oh my gosh. That is definitely a challenge. Like, who is coming up with these challenges? So we'll break down the teams. Team 1 was Simon, Dipta, and Isaac. Team 2 was Holger, Tracy, and Lydia. And Team 3 was Elsa, Meadow, and Stephanie. So for Team 1, they created a cropped jumper with 1 long balloon sleeve and 1 short balloon sleeve. And the sweater featured intarsia balloons with the strings attached. I just thought that was amazing. It kind of looked like you could just pop the balloons off of the sweater. So that was really cool. And also, each team had a certain part of the sweater that they worked on. So Isaac knit the front of the sweater. Dipta knit the back of the sweater. And Simon knitted the balloon sleeves. So I really like how they broke up the work so that it would be even amongst the team. Team 2, they created a black and white checkerboard jumper design. I keep wanting to go back between jumper and sweater. It's a UK show, so they say jumper, but me, I want to say sweater. So, I'll probably jump back and forth between the 2 words, but they used intarsia to create a diagonal checkerboard motif, and that was over pastel pinks and purples. So of course I love that combination using the purple. So Tracy and Lydia, they knitted the body. Holger knitted the sleeves. And so the team, unfortunately, did decide, they ran out of time. And so what they did was they decided to make the sweater with 1 sleeve. And then on the other side, they made like an exaggerated large bow that incorporated the checkerboard motif. So I feel like they really brought it together. I really liked the design, and I thought it was really like 80s style. So great job. They did a great job on that. Okay, so let's see. We have Team 3. Team 3 created a jumper with a large guitar motif on the front. And they used intarsia for that. And also they had a belt buckle down at the bottom for the hem. And then on the sleeves and the back, they had these huge music notes that were going around the sweater. So love that. And to break down who did what, Stephanie knitted the sleeves, Elsa knitted the back, and Meadow knitted the front with the large guitar. So I feel like that was an interesting choice because Meadow admitted that she had never done intarsia before. And at least she wasn't very experienced with intarsia. So unfortunately, I think she bit off a little bit more than she could handle because it had a few holes in it when it came time to judging. But as someone like myself who has never done intarsia before, I really appreciated her having that bravery to do it. And so she got a little flustered there for a second, but she went, she left, she took a breather, she came back. And I think that's just how knitting and crocheting is. Sometimes if a project is just too frustrating for you, sometimes you have to take a break, go outside, take a breather, come back and regroup. And that is what Meadow did. So I was really proud of her for that. Okay, so for the judging, the guitar sweater for Team 3 came in last. And unfortunately, it had to do with the guitar piece in the front. The balloon sweater by Team 1 came in second. And the winner was Team 2 with their checkerboard sweater. So Team 2 won the challenge. Now, each week you have the big winner and then you have someone that is cast off. So the big winner for this week was Holger, and he got the sheep badge. So that was really nice. And the person that was casted off was Meadow. Unfortunately, her and Tarja got her in trouble, but I feel like she has a bright future ahead of her. So, even though I'm enjoying this show, I did have a few thoughts that I wanted to bring out and kind of question. And I'm hoping, since this is only episode 2, maybe I'll get some more clarity on these things. But the first thing is, since crochet is used in this show so much, why is it called Britain's Best Knitter? As a knitter, I have no problem with the crochet being there. I love seeing the crochet, but I thought this competition was to find Britain's best knitter. So I don't know. It's interesting, but that's what they decided to call it. Also, the knitters are knitting for 12 hours for these challenges. So I'm hoping that they get some breaks, water break, restroom break, just some time to relax their hands and their muscles, because crafting for 12 hours at one time with no breaks is a bad idea. Your hands are gonna cramp and all that stuff. And so I'm just really curious, if they're getting breaks and how many breaks are they getting in that 12-hour period. And also, if they are taking breaks, does that take away from the 12 hours? Like, are they allotted a certain time where maybe like the clock stops and they can take a break? I'm curious. Of course, I know this is a show and there's time constraints, but I'm really curious, like, how are they taking care of themselves when they're knitting for 12 hours straight? So I would love to know that. And lastly, okay, so I don't know how I feel about it. So Tom calls the knitters, but he calls the crocheters hookers. Why can't he just call the crocheters? I don't know. Should I be offended? I don't know how I feel. I think sometimes in the knitting and crochet community, some of us can be quite sensitive, or perhaps our humor doesn't match other people's humor. And so I totally get that. And so I don't know how I feel about it really, but let me know. Is the term hookers like a demeaning thing for crocheters? I know that it is something that I've used in the past, but it's one of those words where I've stopped using it. Or are people just taking it too seriously? It's lighthearted, it's fun, it's in jest. So let me know what you think about that. Now, after each show, Tom sits down with the contestant who was cast off, and they do an exit interview. So, of course, Meadow was cast off, and on Tom's YouTube channel, Let's Get Knitting, he sat down with her and discussed a few things. During her interview, Meadow said that she had never knit a garment until she got prepared for the competition. So when she found out that she was going on the competition, that's when she started ramping up her knitting skills so she could get ready. So I found that to be very interesting. And up until that point, she had only knit scarves and garter and knit stitch. So she had to learn a lot of knitting in a short period of time. So Tom asked her what her plans are after the show. What is she thinking about doing in the next 5 to 10 years? And so she said that she is going to study knitwear design for her degree in London. So that is so cool. And she wants to have her own business as a designer. And she also got quite the compliment because Tom told her that he would love to work with her in the future because they have a similar aesthetic when it comes to knitwear. So I was like, you go, girl. Even though she is no longer in the competition, perhaps down the line, down in the future, she'll have some sort of opportunities to work with Tom. So I thought that was a really nice touch. Okay, so I did want to talk about what I am wearing. So this is the Seven Sisters top designed by Sloane Lacoste, and I uploaded an entire video on this top. So I will leave my Ravelry page link below that's got the video link in it. But yeah, let me know what you thought of this episode. There are going to be 8 episodes for this first season, and I am going to be uploading videos for each episode. But don't worry, I am knitting, I am crocheting. I actually just finished a crochet piece and I have started on a knitting piece. And so of course, when I am done with those projects, I will be uploading a video about all of those. But for now, I am really enjoying uploading about these episodes, because how often do you get a show talking about knitting and crocheting? So that's really fun. Okay, so let me know what you worked on while watching, or did you just chill? I would love to know. Definitely definitely leave me a comment. I would love for you to leave a comment, because I love reading those. And I am trying to reach 12,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. We're getting close, so if you could help me out with that, I would really appreciate it. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye.